Morning, everybody. Man, I know Christmas is coming soon because it's getting cold out here. Colder, colder, colder. And even though we just have a little brief respite every now and then with a 40 or 50-degree day, man, it's getting close. Yeah. And we know it's getting close when we're into Advent, first Sunday in Advent. And the gospel reading comes from Mark this week. And just a quick word about this gospel reading. It's often called the little apocalypse or Mark's apocalypse. Apocalypse meaning unveiling, the revealing, things that are kind of secretive, kind of insider type of stuff. And we have some good examples of apocalyptic literature right within our scriptures. In the Old Testament, Daniel stands right out, portions of Daniel. And in the Newer Testament, we have the book of Revelation. But scattered here and there, especially in the Gospels, is a little bit of that same thing too, and we have that today. Just so we don't get confused, little historical perspective is important. Mark is the earliest of the four Gospels that was written, probably the 90s, all right? But the context that probably really spoke to the people was the destruction of the temple, which happened in 70 AD. Now, Jesus is long gone from this earth by then, but the Christian church is really starting to build up now and come into its own, and also come under a great deal of attack and persecution. When Jesus spoke the words that we have in our gospel lesson for today, and he said, in those days, after that suffering, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give us its light. The stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming. He's almost directly quoting from Daniel itself. And it's strange language. It's coded language. There's images in apocalyptic literature that, like I said earlier, only the insiders would understand. But it's meant to bring comfort. It's meant to bring a word of hope to the people. Now, here's what the people of Israel had just been through. In 66 AD, there had been a revolt against Rome that looked like it worked. They were going to have their independence. But guess what? 4 years later, Rome came marching in and just wiped out Jerusalem. Wiped it out. Destroyed the temple. And now the people are fleeing for their lives. The Jews who believed that Jesus was the Messiah. And they're looking around trying to figure out what is going on. When Mark puts his gospel together, and this passage comes at the end of his gospel, before there's even talk of the crucifixion of Jesus, what he's trying to do is say, hey, do you remember back when Jesus told us all these things? He foretold that this was going to happen, that there were going to be tough times. And what else did he say? He goes on to say in the passage we'll read this Sunday, hey, you got to hang in there. You got to be watchful. You have to be alert, because that's what God wants you to do. These things are going to happen. And in a sense, these sort of things have always happened to the people of Israel. I mean, we live in a world that's just absolutely nuts. That's crazy. It has political systems, one after the other, sweeping through and taking over. But as God's people, we need to live as people of hope. And especially when you put this all in the context of Jesus' death and resurrection, we have a hope that the people never had before this. So as you read through this passage today or on Sunday, it's from the 13th chapter, or not the 13th, 13th chapter of Mark. Keep in mind, it is a hope-filled chapter. It is one in which, you don't sit around and try to figure out all the signs of the times. If there's any signs of the times, Jesus is saying, look to see how I am alive, how I am at work, how God is at work in this world. Because he still wants to do his thing through you and through me. Well, I know one thing I'll be doing later today, since the rain has stopped. I'm going to put up my outdoor Christmas decorations. Christmas, it's only Advent, yes, but my Christmas decorations that are outside point toward the coming of Christ in Bethlehem. Hey, that's a good way to share with the world the good news that Jesus is born. God's blessings be with you today.